Wetterhorn is one of the three peaks forming the Wetterhorner Massif and is situated in the Swiss Alps next to the beautiful village of Grindelwald. After having climbed Rosenhorn solo, whose summit rises to 3,689 meters during a two-day trip with a bivouac, and Mittelhorn 3,704 meters in a one-day push, both through the Rosenlaui Glacier. The latter leads to magnificent gorges carved into the rock by water for thousands of years. I wanted to conquer the last summit by a different route, more rocky with some climbing passages and starting from Grindelwald. I didn't know the Grindelwald side of the mountain at all. It was a real pleasure to discover this picturesque village, placed between Eiger, Wetterhorn and Reti. There are numerous tourist attractions in this region, for example, the mountain railway up to the Jungfraujoch, top of Europe, Grindelwald First, Glacier Canyon and many more. My first attempt to climb Wetterhorn on this route took place in October 2020. I was armed only with my tent, my camera and my sheer determination to face my fears. The approach passes through a magnificent path cut into the rock, which leads to the Gleckstein hut.
Il y a des passages exposés.
Gleckstein hut is the perfect place to spend the night before climbing to the summit. But me, I always prefer to spend the night outside, in a sleeping bag or a tent, at one with nature. This allows me to have a greater appreciation of the moment. This is what I call being in symbiosis and harmony with the elements. I must admit that today I enjoy climbing the peaks solo at my level. I don't pretend to break any records, but I want to set my own records. At first I went to the mountains alone because it was difficult for me to find a climbing partner available at the right moment. But over time I began to appreciate the intensity of feelings, the fear that paralyzes you when you are on your own. When you are on a glacier, in the middle of crevasses, or on a snowy steep passage, you realize that you can only count on yourself. Every gesture and every movement matters. This is where I really feel I'm living. It is the opposite of what we live every day, where comfort is the norm. When it's hard for your morale, when you have to overcome your doubts and fears. But despite it all, you arrive to succeed your goal, the adventure, the reward is there, an immense satisfaction. You have to believe in yourself. Don't think it, just do it. It's 5:54 a.m. It's still dark. The sky is clear. Hey, let's go. There are two guys who left before me about 15 minutes ago. I will try to catch them up. The road to Gleckstein hut looks impressive. The wall which rises up on the side is vertiginous. One would think it impossible. After crossing a small forest, I come to an intersection where I have to take the path named Steinbock-Ischpfad, which means on the Capricorn's path. It leads to Engi above the remains of the upper station of the old Wetterhorn lift. Compared to previous years, last winter saw heavy snowfalls which resulted in dense flowing streams. This time last year this place was dry. The passages are astonishing, insane. Often we have the impression of being on the edge of a precipice. Once at Gleckstein hut you have to take the blue path. It's time now to put on the mountaineering boots, harness and crampons. I have to cross the small glacier before tackling the rock climbing. This time I decided to go to the summit in one push. I only took my small backpack, which made the ascent easier. I chose to go directly through the upper part of this glacier to avoid the many crevasses which are located at the bottom. I still have doubts about the outcome of my expedition. Will I be able to surpass myself, overcome my fears, and climb the passage where I left off last year? Here I am on the ridge that leads to the Wettersatel Pass. I leave behind me the last traces of a very cold night. The ascent promises to be long. This is the place where I gave up last year. I will take my time to get used to the difficulties that are facing me this time. That's it. I managed to pass the first difficulty. I feel more confident, but the road remains long. I cross one passage after another. It's not easy for someone who doesn't practice climbing, especially as there are sheer drops all around. I have to stay focused. It's not over yet. I clear my head and think only about the path ahead and how to climb the next rock. Subconsciously, I wonder how I will manage the descent given the number of vertical passages that I have overcome. Finally, I have arrived at the Wettersatel Pass. I came across a cord, fixed with a piece of wood between two rocks. I prefer to not use it as it doesn't inspire any confidence. ridge looks amazing, but I'm still dreading the last part to get to the top. This is the last technical part, where I have to go along the side of a vertical wall. I can now feel the proximity of the pass, which I know well, having climbed Mittelhorn on the other side. I feel in familiar territory. The last few meters are more complicated than expected. In fact, I see some rope fixed on the steep wall on the left, and lots of small sliding stones on the right. I decide to take the left lane. Bad mistake. I arrive on a vertical wall. I have to fork to the right. That's it. I passed the ridge. I'm very happy, but I'm still not at the top. Behind me, I see the magnificent summit of Mittelhorn. So many memories. I advance with Eiger in the background. I didn't know yet I would attack this summit in 3 weeks' time. Now I'm moving slowly towards the top. The terrain is quite steep and slippery, but the sight of the anchor points reassures me. I know now that I will reach the top. I feel more relaxed.
Voilà. Poison, je crois. 3 years. 3 lata. Voilà. Mittelhorn. Rosenhorn. Rosen. Eiger. Grindelwald.
Here I am at the top. My dream of climbing the 3 peaks of Wetterhorner Massif solo has finally been realized. It took me 3 years. I feel great emotion and enormous satisfaction. However, I am already thinking about the descent, which prevents me from taking full advantage of this moment, as I know it will be even more challenging. Often the descent can be more difficult than the climb. You are tired, you want to come back quickly, and you can easily make mistakes. I have already tripped or fallen into a small crevasse. Luckily here in the highest part, where there are lots of small slippery stones, there are iron bars with rings to tie the rope to and abseil down. This is the short summary of my amazing adventure with Wetterhorn. If you appreciated the video, don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel. I will let you watch the part devoted to the long descent which still caused me some difficulties. At one point I got lost between the rocks, unable to find the correct path of descent. I lost 2 hours before finding the right way. That's when I decided that next time I will take a small can of spray paint in a bright color with me. Thank you for watching and see you soon for a new adventure.
Bon, j'ai passé 2 heures à chercher la route. C'est pas marqué. La prochaine fois, je prends une bombe de peinture. Comme ça, quand le chemin n'est pas marqué, bah, je vais m'en occuper moi-même là, parce que là, c'était trop dangereux. Voilà. Là, j'arrive au glacier. Après, je croise le glacier. Je récupère mes chaussures. Ici, je récupère mes crampons. Et après, on essaye de descendre. Il y a pour 2 heures, quoi. Very happy. I did this summit. Bon, on va arrêter de filmer.